Hey everybody. So I am here to share my story of the year from heaven and hell. And you're gonna hear me probably pause and like struggle to breathe because the hell part, uh, you'll hear about that soon. So um, I haven't been on here in more than a year at least. I would have to double check the date on my last video, but I have been, or I was, really, really busy, and it's because I started an awesome uh, fitness and nutrition challenge, and I was able to help hundreds of women, and it was freaking awesome. And I taught a lot of classes. We did a lot of learning and growing, and I was helping people, and it was awesome. And I have hundreds of testimonials saved on my computer. But because I was operating the entire business by myself, I had like zero time to do anything. Um, so it was crazy. It was great, very rewarding. And I'll probably at some point put together the testimonials and things. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. But by the end of, I would say, June of this year, 2019, I was just so run down physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. Like, just so many things had happened in that time. And I was starting to get more and more tired. And now I don't know if this ties into what I'm going to share with you, but I mean, if you're operating on minimal sleep and you're a fitness instructor and you're just like go go go, and everything's got to be working, your mind's got to be on point all the time, your body's got to be going, like it'll just wear you down. So that was just kind of happening, but I was still functioning. And so the first week of July, I started to not feel good. Or I should say, I started to feel different. I should say that. Because I remember it was Canada Day, July 1st, and I did an awesome workout. Like, I felt freaking awesome, like ran 2 miles. I did like bench pressing and kettlebell swings, and I just, it was awesome. I felt great. But by the end of the week, I noticed during my workout that like my feet were shaking, and I was burning out really quickly. And I'm somebody who, really pays attention to their body. I'm really aware of symptoms and things in my body. So I was just like, okay, that's weird. And so I finished the workout, and I could not get my heart rate down after. And I started to have a lot of anxiety, and I was just like, what the heck is going on? Like, it was just weird. So, then the next day was okay. And then a few days later, I remember I had to teach a class, and I knew I just did not feel well. I knew I shouldn't have done the workout, but I mean, I was the instructor, and it was the type of class I was instructing that I had to physically do as well. So it wasn't one of my other boot camps where I could just say, okay, go do push-ups for a minute and then just like time everybody and, check their form. This was one I had to actually do because there was choreography. Anyway, so I did it, and like, I was having such a difficult time trying to come up with the words to tell people to move to the right. Like, it's like I lost the ability to find words, like for example, like, this is a sweater, but like I wouldn't be able to tell you that this was a sweater. So bizarre. So the next day, I still had some energy at that point. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to try to work out. I didn't feel too bad. But then during the workout, again, I started to burn out really quickly, and started to get really dizzy, super dizzy. And I was like, I do all my little checks in my head. I'm like, okay, have I had enough water? Yes. Did I eat enough today? Yes. Am I breathing? Yes. But yet I was so dizzy and my vision went black at least 4 times. And sorry, I'm getting out of breath because this is right now, talking is tiring. So anyway, that was that. That was weird. So the next morning I had another class to teach, and I could only do like half a second of a movement to demonstrate, and then I just like collapsed, and I had nothing in me. It was like somebody pulled the freaking plug out, of a lamp. It was like, boop, done. And I'm like, okay, something is not right. So I did that. I don't know if I taught the next day or not, because I usually would teach like 5 to 6 days a week. But anyway, couldn't get a hold of my family doctor. So by Saturday morning, I had to cancel class. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the hospital. Like, I need, like, something is wrong. And then my dad suggested, well, let's just go to the walk-in clinic, because it's at a medical building there where, you can just get everything done all at once, like blood work and everything. Not that you can't at the hospital, but you're going to wait a long time. Anyway, so we went, he ran typical blood work, went back the next week. Blood work's fine, my vitamins are fine, iron was fine. The only thing was like my vitamin D was on the low end. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense, because I was progressively getting more and more tired, and I was like laying down a lot. I wasn't getting outside as much. So I was like, okay, all right, so I'll just make sure I get back up on my vitamin D. So everything else was fine. And so then the next doctor I saw, because it was another walk-in doctor, he's like, all right, let's do a chest x-ray. Let's test for like inflammatory markers, some of these different things they do. Chest was clear, because I basically had said, I was like, I can't breathe, I can't do anything, like, and somebody else had said, oh, well, it's like, it's asthma. And I'm like, I've had asthma. This is not asthma. I can fill my lungs. It's like it takes every bit of effort out of me to try to breathe. The most bizarre thing. So I ended up seeing my family doctor probably later in the week, and he ran me through a bunch of tests, like for lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, mono, like Lyme, several different things. Everything comes back negative. So at this point, I'm like, okay, what the hell? Like, there's something wrong with me, because I can't be someone going from sprinting at the track to not even being able to like walk up one step of stairs without like needing to stop and like catch their breath, even though I could never catch my breath. And you can still hear me now. I'm struggling, but I am better. I mean, the fact that I'm sitting up right now is like, and the fact that I can even talk and make sentences is awesome, because I slowly started to go, well, slowly but quickly went downhill, because I finished up the month, and I said to my girls, I'm like, okay, I'm not teaching anymore. I was doing some changes to my business anyway to change it into online. So I pushed through July. I felt awful. I tried to get in contact with other instructors to see if they could cover for me. Like, nobody was available. So here I am trying to like pull myself out of bed at 5 in the morning, and just picture feeling like you have either the worst hangover ever times 20, or you've never experienced a hangover, then like you have a really bad flu times that by 20, and then someone hit you by a friggin' truck. That's how I felt, and I still do feel like that to this day, but I am seeing some improvements, which I'll talk about. But so okay, just bear with me, because my memory and everything's a little bit slow. What was I saying? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so by the end of July, I pushed through, and then August, I want to say, was like maybe my most severe month for fatigue, because I could not even get out of my bed. The only time I could very slowly and with great difficulty was to go to the bathroom, and someone had to bring me food because I could not do anything. Anything that required energy of any sort, I could not do. So I needed to keep my eyes closed and lay down and just barely breathe. Meanwhile, having heart palpitations, having like the shallowest breathing, being like dizzy and confused, and just the strangest thing. And trying to get to some appointments, working with my naturopathic doctor, and people messaging me actually and saying, go to the States or send your blood to the States and get better testing or more comprehensive testing or whatever the term is. And so I did that by the end of August, sent it out, and even the lady at the lab, when I went for other testing, she's like, go to the States, just go to the States. And I mean, I knew nothing about Lyme at the time, so I'll get into that in a moment. But so it was mid-September 2019 that I got the call from my naturopath saying, yeah, you tested positive on like 3 different panels for Lyme disease. And I was like, oh my goodness. That's great, but also very scary. And but I'm like, okay, well, that explains everything. So anyway, so we started on different things, and I'll talk about my treatment in a minute, but my symptoms were getting worse. I was having pain. I mean, things I'm saying I still do have, but it's different because things keep kind of changing. Like, I'm having severe pain in my head, my knees, and my ankles, and my hips, and in my sternum, and my spine, and a lot of digestive issues, like normal foods that I would regularly eat, which I'm very aware of my body, which I found a good diet that worked well for me. It didn't even matter what I ate. I had stomach problems, and started having a lot of burning pain throughout my body, and started having like some form of seizures. And it wasn't like a grand mal seizure. There's different forms of seizures, I guess, but that was the most frightening thing. That's scary when you can't control anything and your body is like shaking and you can't speak, but you're like kind of aware, and then you're just so tired after it. That was the scariest thing. And I haven't had that in, I don't know now, maybe a month and a half. So thank goodness that I'm hoping that is gone. Like, I'm hoping that's still good. Yeah, very frightening. I've never had anything like that in my life. And, like leading up to this, like doctors think you're like crazy or something. Like, I had another doctor say, he's like, go with this anxiety and you need to see a psychiatrist. And I was like, okay, I've also experienced a lot of anxiety in my life, and this is not anxiety. Like, I know what anxiety feels like. There's something wrong with my body here. And anything I was doing, trying to take different supplements and things, weren't really helping. I did introduce like these NRF1 and NRF2 like activator things, which I think initially helped me to be able to like sit upright for a little bit, because basically I could do nothing. I was stuck laying in bed, and I still spend like the majority of the day now laying down because I'm so tired. So anyway, I'll have to make a video in the future with just like listing out my symptoms, because my brain's so scattered right now that I'm probably missing a lot of things and I'm all over the place. So I can be a little more specific in the future. Yeah, so just really terrible time, and it makes you like kind of go a little crazy in your head. So I had maybe more of a neurological form of Lyme disease. I shouldn't even say had, because I'm still having issues, and right now I get a lot of like body twitches and stuff. And with the treatment I'm doing now, it's all natural. I did do a course of antibiotics, doxycycline, but that was already like too late, because that didn't do anything for me except make me feel even worse. And so I did a course of that. I mean, maybe it helped in some way, but I think it was a little too late coming through. And so I've been doing a lot of like natural treatments, antimicrobial herbs, intravenous vitamin C, like I'm always laying on an earthing mat, lots of supplements. And I just recently started doing IV hyperbaric ozone 10 pass. That's what it's called. I'm just slowly working my way up to 10 passes, and basically that's they take your blood out and they mix it with ozone, which ozone is known to kill bacteria and microbes and things like that, and then they put it back into you, and then that's called one pass, and then they do it again. And I guess they found the sweet spot is around 10 passes. So yeah, so I've just only done that 3 times now. I'm up to 6 passes, and I'm also taking different like dropper things, tinctures of Byron White formula. So probably if you're familiar with this, you probably already heard about these different supplements and things. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. The progress I've made is I'm not as dizzy, because initially I was like constantly dizzy. I'd sit here and be like, well, I wouldn't even be sitting, I'd be laying down, and like it's just like my head was spinning. Couldn't even stand up. I would just, my blood pressure would like drop, like just very bad. And my blood pressure actually has been much lower than it normally has been. And so I'm not as dizzy, say that. I can now like make sentences, like look at me talking, that's cool. I can sit upright more, and that's really nice. But you'd be surprised like how much energy it actually takes to just sit upright. Like me right now, like I'm getting tired. I'm gonna be laying down after this. But the fact that I can sit up is cool. I can move faster, because initially I could only move the speed of like a sloth speed. So now I'm at like a turtle speed, which is really nice to see progress in those areas. But I just want this like sick feeling out of my body. It's just, like I said, I can't even explain it other than like it's just like you feel like you have the flu. And then you get weird symptoms like buzzing under your skin, and pain in your joints and pain in your head. Like it's so freaking weird, and it's very scary. It's a very serious issue. And if you don't know what Lyme disease is, I mean, you can like just search it up. It's transmitted to you through ticks. And that's another thing. I mean, I'm gonna have to make a better video at some point. I don't recall getting a tick bite. And a lot of people don't recall tick bites either, because they can bite you when they're in their nymph stage, when they're like 1 to 2 millimeters in size. You don't even see it. And I'm thinking, well, it could have been in my head, like who knows, like in my scalp or whatever. You don't know. However, I did notice laying down by the end of July that I had some type of cut or a scab or something inside my belly button, like in, you know, up and in. And you know, I'm not looking at my belly button all the time, so I would never have like noticed that. Maybe that's where it was, I'm not sure. And then also, not everybody presents the bullseye rash. And if any doctor is telling you that you have to have the bullseye rash, like, you need to fire them and find somebody else, because they're clearly not up to date. And that's one issue I had when I went to the hospital. It was the first night I had like the burning pains going through my body all the way down my legs and having that weird seizure. Like, that was the first time I had it. So of course I'm like, okay, I need to go to the hospital. Like, something is really wrong here. And then, you know, after you wait for like 2.5 hours to go see the doctor at the emergency, you know, I wasn't having those seizures. Like, you know, it only lasted maybe 10, 15 minutes. Like, it, you know, anyway. And then I had actually had 2 of them at that night. Yeah, and then he says to me, he's like, oh no, like, you know, if you didn't see the tick, you don't have a bullseye rash. He's like, I don't believe it. He's like, how is that possible? And I had said how I had results from the States, and I mean, no doctor here accepts it, except for like your naturopathic doctors, the people who look at your entire body and treat you holistically. You know, they accept the test results. There's some massive issues with money and politics around Lyme. It's very unfortunate. You know, because, you know, they say, like, if, you know, you catch it early and you treat with antibiotics, like most people are totally fine, but it's unfortunately misdiagnosed, or it gets missed in some way, and then it goes on too long, and then it's already too late for antibiotics. And so you have to do maybe a little bit more aggressive treatment. You might need to do intravenous antibiotics. I don't know. I'll have to make a better video at some point, because I can't think much more right now. But you could do some searches for yourself on YouTube here, and you'll find lots of good information. There's Dr. Horowitz. He's awesome. Listen to his seminars that he does. And honestly, like, when I watch some of these things, I just put everything on 1.5 times speed and just like blast through a couple of them to get them done and watched. But really, really good information. And we need to learn a lot more here, especially in Canada. It's just not fair how patients are being treated, and everything now for me is like out of pocket. And I've spent thousands of dollars already, and it's going to continue to cost thousands more. So I'll have to give you an update, but thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Now that my brain functions a bit better, I'll be able to, you know, come on here and reply to everybody. So yeah, I think that's everything I kind of wanted to say right now. I'm missing so much, and I'm very sorry. So I will make an update at some point. But here we are in November 2019, and hoping to get back to feeling fantastic like I used to, like, you know, because I took care of my health. But Lyme disease does not discriminate, so anybody can get this. So yeah, all right, thanks for watching, and have a great day.